Welcome to Karma Chronicles. Please like the video and subscribe. Let's begin. I walked into the chapel 30 seconds after the slideshow started. My boots echoed across the polished floor like gunshots. Every head turned. Conversations stopped. I didn't care. I was in uniform. Full army combat medic dress, patches cleaned, ribbons straight, hair tied up tight. I looked like I was on duty, and in a way, I was. Name's Sarah Walden. I'm 34, born in Albany, raised mostly in Ohio. Spent 15 years active duty before this. First aid in Afghanistan, field trauma in Syria, but nothing prepared me for the cold silence in that room. Quick note, before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. Front row, there they were. Vivian in black Chanel and pearls, holding her fake tears in a crystal stem tissue. And Trent, the golden sun, slicked back hair and smug smirk, playing the grieving air like he rehearsed it. Both looked up when I entered. Both froze. Vivian leaned into the woman beside her and whispered something sharp. Whatever it was, it passed like wildfire through the first 3 pews. Eyes shifted toward me like I was a streak of dirt on the carpet. "Is she allowed to be here?" someone murmured. "No invitation," someone else answered. That part was true. I found out about my father's memorial through a hospital clerk who still owed me a favor. No public obituary, no open notice, no family call. The slideshow flashed another photo. Dad at a research gala, arm around Trent, some award in hand. I wasn't in a single frame. Not one. I kept walking. When I reached the second pew, Vivian stood. "This is a private event," she said under her breath, but loud enough for the rest to hear. I looked her dead in the eyes. "And I'm his daughter." Before she could respond, someone further back stood. "Sergeant First Class Walden," said a deep voice. "Dr. Malcolm Reyes, department chair, my dad's old colleague. Your service is noted. Please, stay." That shut them up. Vivian sat down without a word. Trent clenched his jaw, eyes darting toward Dr. Reyes, but he didn't move. I stood at the edge near the urn. No coffin, no body. Just a marble container and a blown-up portrait of a man who'd already been erased years before he died. I stared at that face. No warmth in it. Just a stranger in a lab coat, staring forward like he'd won something. After the ceremony, while the rest circled around Vivian and Trent like they were royalty, Dr. Reyes came over and slipped something into my hand. A sealed envelope. All he said was, he wanted you to know. Inside, when I stepped outside, a single facility access keycard and a handwritten note. 2 words, Project Rook, and under that, call Eli. I drove 8 hours straight without stopping, except once to piss behind a gas station that had no working restroom. The last 20 miles were dirt road, winding up through dry hills and broken wind turbines. I passed a rusted-out mailbox with gains, barely visible through peeling paint. I killed the engine a 1/4 mile past it, grabbed my rucksack, and walked the rest. His cabin looked like it hadn't seen a repair since the early 90s. Weather-beaten siding, warped solar panels, a satellite dish drooping like a broken shoulder. I knocked twice, hard, and stepped back. A dog barked inside, chain rattling. Then a shotgun slid through the crack of the door. "Back up," came a gravel voice. "I'm not here to rob you," I said. "I brought this." I held up the envelope. Let the handwriting show. My father's chicken scratch block letters. Same style from every birthday card he ever mailed late. The door creaked open wider. Eli Gaines looked exactly like the photos. Older, sure, but still tall, wiry, bald up top with a full beard. He stared at the envelope, then at me. His eyes narrowed like he was doing math in his head. "You, Sarah?" he asked. "Yeah." He muttered something, dropped the shotgun to his side, and waved me in. The place smelled like dust, metal, and burnt coffee. Every surface was covered in tools, circuit boards, and ancient tech. An old diesel generator rumbled out back. The dog, a German shepherd with a gray muzzle, followed me room to room like a bodyguard. "Your dad said you'd never come looking," Eli said, sitting at a desk littered with cables and half-built gadgets. "He didn't exactly give me a reason to," I said. "Until now." I pulled out the key card and laid it in front of him. He didn't touch it, just stared. Then, slowly, he reached under the desk and slid open a panel, revealing an old military-grade terminal. Olive green, dented, maybe Korean War vintage. He blew dust off the port, then inserted the keycard. The screen flickered. Lines of broken code scrolled across. file names and fragments. A few loaded, PDFs of environmental reports, timestamps from 12, 15 years ago. Eli typed commands fast, jaw clenched. "What is this?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. One report loaded just enough to show a logo, Department of Energy, and the words Contract Oversight Committee, Project Rook. "Your dad was documenting falsified impact data," Eli said finally. "These plants, they were pushing contracts through using fake projections, hiding long-term exposure, air contamination levels, site instability." The screen glitched again. Half the files were corrupted beyond recovery. "Who else knew?" I asked. Eli pointed to a line of garbled email headers. Most unreadable. One name showed clear as daylight. Dr. Lennox Hale. I blinked. "Hale? From Stanford Med?" Eli turned to me fast. "You know him. He used to come to the house. Dinner once a year, every year. Dad got weird anytime his name came up." "Lennox Hale isn't just some ivory tower researcher," Eli said. "He ran the compliance board on several early power initiatives, had hands in 2 different admin cycles. If Hale's name is here—" He stopped, hit another key. The terminal buzzed and shut down. "Shit," he muttered. "Power surge. That wasn't random." "Meaning?" "Meaning someone set that keycard to wipe once accessed." He pulled it out. The chip was scorched. My heart slammed against my ribs. "So it's gone?" "Not all of it. I downloaded fragments. But listen, if Hale's involved, this doesn't end with threats or lawsuits. They don't just silence you, they erase you." I stared at him, thinking about the fake smile on Hale's face at those dinners, the way Dad poured scotch like water every time the man came up. "Then we're already in it," I said, "because I'm not walking away now." Eli gave me a look, then stood. "I've got a backup set up. Not as fast, but safer. You can crash in the shed. It's wired. But if anyone comes up this hill, we're both targets." He wasn't being dramatic. I walked outside, past the dog, past the generator, down toward the metal shed with a busted door frame. I kicked it open, tossed my ruck inside, and slammed the door shut behind me. I pulled up to the front gate of the Walden estate just before noon. The sun was straight overhead, making the wrought iron look even more smug than usual. I buzzed once, waited, buzzed again. The speaker crackled. "Private residence," said a clipped voice. "It's Sarah," I said. "Open the gate." A long pause. Then Vivian's voice, ice cold, perfectly controlled. "You're not welcome here." I leaned out the window. "I'm not asking for brunch. I want access to Dad's records, research files, notes, anything left in his office." Her fake laugh cut through the speaker. "I'm sure you do, but you're not family anymore, remember?" The gate didn't move. Neither did I. "You don't get to erase me just because it's convenient," I said. "This place wasn't just his. I lived here too." Vivian clicked her tongue. "Yes, I remember, until your mother finally got the hint." My hands tightened on the steering wheel. "You're blocking access to federal research files," I said. "If you think I won't involve legal—" "Go ahead," she snapped. "Sue us. Waste your military pension chasing ghosts." Your father left everything in order. Right then, Trent's black SUV pulled up on the other side of the gate. He stepped out like a damn TV lawyer. Tailored suit, Ray-Bans, fake tan glowing like an Instagram filter. "Still hanging around?" he said. "I thought you'd figured it out by now. You're not part of this family." "You think this is about money?" I said. He shrugged. "Well, it's definitely not about love." "Open the gate, Trent." He smiled like he was doing me a favor just talking. "Dad's will is signed, witnessed, and filed. You're not in it. Not a cent, not a file, not a chair." "Where are his research backups?" I asked. "Disposed of, per his request. You're wasting your time." I got out of the car and stepped toward the gate. "That's a lie." "You gonna hop the fence?" Trent asked, arms folded. "Wouldn't be the first time." He laughed and turned back to his car. "You should get some help, Sarah. The Paranoid Vet Act isn't a good look." "Yeah? Well, keep laughing," I said. "When I go public with what I've got, we'll see who looks insane." Vivian cut back in through the speaker. "This conversation is over, and if you step foot on this property again, we'll have you arrested for trespassing." The gate buzzed, then silence. I stood there for one more second, then got back in the car and slammed the door hard enough to rattle the mirror. Driving away, I passed the front steps and caught the edge of the memory I hated most. Mom holding her suitcase, mascara streaked, me standing behind her, 14 years old and shaking. Trent watched from the doorway with a damn sandwich in his hand. Vivian never even came outside. They didn't scream. They didn't fight. They just stood there and let it happen. I pulled over on the side of the road, pulled out my phone, and hit redial. Eli picked up on the second ring. They shut me out, I said. Burned everything or locked it up. They're scared, he said. Good, I told him. Because this isn't about inheritance anymore. This is about what they're hiding. Eli met me at the shed door before I even got out of the car. I've got something, he said. It's not clean, but it's talking. I followed him fast, ducking into the main cabin. The dog gave one lazy growl and went back to sleep under the desk. Eli's backup rig was Frankenstein-level patched. 2 mismatched monitors, cables everywhere, old tower unit humming like a microwave about to blow. On the screen, audio logs, labeled only by timestamps. Half were flagged red. He clicked on one with green. Static hit first, then voices, warped, low. Eli filtered the noise out as best he could. Sensitive timelines. If the audit holds, a pause, click. Then another voice, calm, sharp, British. We need this handled. Quietly. He won't shut up. Not anymore. I didn't need a name. I knew that voice. Hail, I said. Eli didn't flinch. He just clicked the next file. People are watching, Lennox. This isn't 20 years ago. Then let it be the last mistake he ever makes. Eli leaned back. This next one, this was buried under 4 levels of encryption. It's barely holding together, but you need to hear it. He hit play. At first, it was silence, then a breath, then the voice I hadn't heard in person for over a decade. If you're hearing this, I didn't make it. My chest tightened. I grabbed the edge of the desk. But the truth can't die with me, my father said, voice tired but steady. They buried numbers, rigged approvals, air quality falsified at 6 different test sites. Greystone, Deming, Ridgewater, all under Project Rook. I tried to stop it. The audio skipped, glitched, came back in pieces. They threatened Sarah, said they'd, if I kept pushing, but I didn't stop. So if this is it, dig, don't let them bury it all. Call Eli, tell her I'm sorry. Click, dead air. I stood there, fists balled so tight I felt my nails bite skin. My father's voice from the grave, not some old voicemail, not a birthday call, a goddamn confession. Eli turned in his chair and looked at me. His voice was quiet but flat. This wasn't amateur work. These corruptions, they used military-grade masking, spoofed metadata, fragmentation pulses. This thing was set up to self-wipe the moment it detected decryption attempts. So whoever did this had clearance, at minimum, probably contractor-level DOD clearance, not some hacker in a basement. I paced the room twice, couldn't sit, couldn't breathe. My ears were still ringing with that last line. They threatened Sarah. I didn't know, Eli said. Neither did I snapped. Then, quieter. He never told me, just ghosted and vanished, left me in the dark. Eli didn't offer comfort, just turned back to the screen and started isolating audio tracks again. I stared at the monitor, the names, the locations, the voice of the man who raised me, cold, controlled, signing his own death warrant into a hard drive. They wanted this buried, Eli said again, more to himself than to me. I stepped beside him, steady now. Then we dig it up. He nodded once and started decoding the next file. The boardroom smelled like old money and lemon polish. 18 chairs, glass table, catered breakfast nobody touched. I showed up in slacks and a plain blouse. No uniform, no medals, just me. The only thing I carried was a leather folder tucked under my arm. Vivian looked up from her tablet when I walked in. Her face froze, like she'd seen a ghost wearing boots. I thought this was closed session, she said, looking at one of the assistants. It is, Trent chimed in from the far end, which means you're trespassing again. Nope, I said, still legally on the board. Dad never removed my seat. You resigned, Vivian said flatly. I stepped away. There's no record of formal resignation. That gives me voting rights and access. One of the older board members, Stanley Grant, I think, cleared his throat. She's right. Her name's still on the official roll. Let her speak. Vivian didn't like it, but she leaned back, all polite poison. Fine, she said. You have 5 minutes. I opened the folder and pulled out a set of photocopies, financials, flagged statements, transfer trails. I walked around the table and slid one sheet to each member. Line 19C, I said, environmental partnerships. A $50,000 grant supposedly sent to a water research pilot in Arizona. Trent didn't blink. It's a routine partnership. We fund ecolabs all the time. Sure, I said, except this one doesn't exist. The address leads to a UPS drop box. The recipient company, Blue Forward Innovations, is a shell. It's tied to a holding firm out of Nevada, and that holding firm is owned by none other than Dr. Lennox Hale. That got their attention. I kept going. The money didn't fund research. It was laundered, quietly, and it's not the only one. I've got 3 more flagged for audit, all under this foundation, all funneled through fake green initiatives. Vivian laughed once. This is a reach. You don't understand how grant structures work. Then explain this, I said, tossing a final page down. Emails from your finance director confirming the reclassification. And guess what? That director died in a single car crash 3 weeks after those messages. Chairs shifted. Someone coughed. One of the auditors scribbled a note. The air in the room dropped 10 degrees. Trent leaned forward, trying to keep his voice steady. What do you want, Sarah? Transparency, I said, and a freeze on all outgoing grants until the audit completes. A few board members nodded slowly. Nobody rushed to reject it. Vivian stood up, purse in hand. This is a witch hunt. You're dragging your father's name through the mud. He's already buried, I said. I'm making sure the truth isn't. Meeting adjourned after that. No vote taken, but eyes were opened, and that was enough for today. I walked out without another word. The sunshine outside felt fake. I made it halfway across the parking lot before I noticed my car. Rear window shattered, tires slashed, and under the wiper, tucked neat like a parking ticket, was a photo. Me and Eli, sitting on the cabin porch, dog in the background. High resolution, telephoto angle, surveillance grade. I looked around. No cars in sight, just a crow on a light pole watching like it knew. I grabbed the photo, climbed into the driver's seat, and locked the doors. They knew, and they were close. They called me in first thing Monday. No subject line, no heads up. Just a formal envelope taped to my front door. Office of Research Oversight, Division Review Panel, mandatory appearance. I drove straight there in silence, gripping the steering wheel like it was the only solid thing left in my life. The conference room was filled with suits. 2 internal investigators, 1 HR rep, and a campus security officer who looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. Sarah Walden, the woman at the center started. You're here regarding potential breaches in access to restricted medical archives, flagged under Cybersecurity Protocol 14B. Which archives? I asked. She clicked her pen. You accessed a restricted system tied to Walden Foundation research initiatives without clearance. My father's work. It doesn't matter whose it was. You had no authorization. One of the investigators slid a file across the table. Also, your apartment was searched under university jurisdiction. We found signs of forced access to physical records. Your laptop's been flagged for forensic review. The system's been compromised. I clenched my jaw. So, someone breaks into my place, wipes my stuff, and you think I'm the threat? We didn't initiate the search, she said, but we're placing you on administrative leave pending investigation. For looking into the truth? I asked. Is that the part that scares you? Nobody answered. The security officer just opened the door. I walked out without saying a damn word. My phone blew up as soon as I hit the parking lot. Texts, missed calls, then a link from a friend. Trent's voice blasted from my speakers, polished, smug, rehearsed. I loved my father, but unfortunately, some people, including my half-sister, are using his death to chase personal relevance. She's not a researcher. She's not a scientist. She's a bitter failure grasping for attention. He kept going, spinning stories, quoting fake timelines, making it sound like I'd fabricated everything out of grief and jealousy. I nearly threw the phone out the window. Instead, I went to the one place he wouldn't think to check. The campus library, back corner. No cameras. I sat alone, tried to focus, and failed. Then I heard someone sit across from me. Young guy, maybe 21, 22, nervous but steady. I'm not trying to bother you, he said. I knew Avery. My heart skipped. Avery Reyes? Yeah, Dr. Reyes's niece. She died last year, car crash. But she left something for you. Said to only hand it over if you were being buried. He slid a small flash drive across the table. Said you'd know what to do. He left before I could even say thank you. I didn't waste time. I went straight back to Eli's and plugged it into the offline rig. The files were encrypted, but Eli cracked it in under an hour. Inside, 3 emails, all between Avery and her uncle. She'd been doing background pulls on Hale quietly. She knew the grants were rigged. She'd traced at least 2 back to military-funded site suppression contracts. Then there was an audio file, short, clear. Reyes thinks he's clever, Hale's voice said, but we have options. Silence is cheaper than scandal. Remove him from the board. And if he pushes back, we'll take permanent measures. Another voice, one I didn't recognize, chimed in. The daughter's military. She could stir up more noise. Then let's make sure she doesn't find the matchbook, Hale said. No one survives this fire. The recording ended. I stared at the screen while Eli just stood there, rubbing his beard like it might wake him up. I broke. For 5 full seconds, I cracked wide open. Tears, fists, breath caught in my throat. My father had known. Avery had known. They'd all tried to warn me, and I was too late to save either of them. Then I wiped my face, sat down, and clicked save. This doesn't get buried again. Eli didn't ask questions. He just started prepping the release. Eli isolated the segment to exactly 10 seconds. No intro, no filler, no names beyond the one that mattered. Hale's voice, clean, arrogant, self-assured. Silence is cheaper than scandal. Remove him from the board. And if he pushes back, we'll take permanent measures. We didn't add commentary, didn't explain it. Just formatted the audio file, trimmed it for maximum clarity, and slapped the title, Untouched Audio. Dr. Lennox Hale, May 11th, 2022. This will trigger alarms, Eli said, hunched over his backup rig, typing like the keyboard owed him money. We released this wrong. They'll shut it down in seconds. So where do we drop it? Whistle safe first, then leak it to MedExpose. And I've got a contact who pushes viral content through public health forums. I nodded. Let it burn. We set the time delay for 3 minutes, just long enough to scramble the server IDs. I watched the bar crawl toward 100%, the file uploading in silence except for the soft whir of Eli's fans. Done, he said. It's out. I backed away from the screen like it was going to explode. Then, we waited. 2 hours later, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. By midnight, the file had hit 23,000 views on WhistleSafe. By morning, it passed 200,000. Verified analysts on 3 watchdog forums had already confirmed the voice print. Hale's cadence, tone, sentence structure. It wasn't just real. It was him. My inbox blew up. 2 interview requests, 1 warning from a research center lawyer, strongly advising me to cease contact with former Foundation affiliates. And then the message came in. No subject line, no header, just a single line of text in my email preview window. Stop digging. I didn't open it. My stomach flipped, but I kept the screen up. Eli walked in with coffee and stopped when he saw my face. What happened? I turned the laptop to face him. Somebody's watching. He opened the message on a burner machine, checked for trackers, then nodded slowly. It's a ghost ping. They didn't use an address. They routed it through your own device. Just then, my laptop light blinked. The camera turned on by itself. No sound, no warning. Just the glowing green LED staring back at me like an eye I couldn't shut. I slammed the screen shut. They're already in. Eli didn't flinch. He just set down the coffee and crossed his arms. Then it's working. I stared at him. We're playing with live wire now. We've been on the wire since day 1. This just means they noticed. Another text came through, this one to Eli's landline. No caller ID. It rang once and dropped. I've got decoys ready, he said. If they push deeper, we move locations. I've got another burner system we can set up 2 counties over. I shook my head. Number we stay put. Sarah. We stay. We're not running. We pushed first. Now they're scrambling. We hold our ground. His eyes searched mine for a second. Then he nodded once. All right. But we tightened security. No more Wi-Fi. Hard lines only. I'll kill remote access on everything we've touched. I grabbed my phone and powered it off completely. Battery pulled. Eli started locking down the drives. Outside, the wind picked up, turbines creaking like ghosts in the distance. They saw us. They heard us. Good. Let them come. I walked in through the catering entrance with a badge I'd printed the night before and a dress I hadn't worn since my cousin's wedding. Nothing about me screamed threat. That was the point. The National Medical Innovation Gala was held inside a glass-walled ballroom downtown, half Congress, half circus. Chandeliers, tuxedos, foundation boards, university presidents. The whole damn industry stuffed into one glittery evening. And at the center of it all, Dr. Lennox Hale, keynote speaker, Man of the Year. The program said there would be a tribute video before his speech, honoring the late doctor, Robert Walden's contributions to medical technology and ethics. My father, dead, but still convenient. I stood in the back near the tech crew, clutching my purse tight. Inside was the USB, already preloaded. Eli had cut a clean 20-second clip and looped it to autoplay. I had a clicker in my other hand, just needed to sync it. The lights dimmed. A warm voice welcomed the crowd and asked them to turn their attention to the main screen. The video started. Photos of my dad, footage from old grant ceremonies, B-roll of labs and kids in clinics. He looked like a saint. Hale's voice narrated the whole thing like they'd been brothers in arms instead of co-conspirators. I moved fast. I stepped onto the stage from the side wing while the applause was still going. Half the room froze. The other half turned as I reached center, heels silent on the black carpet. I took the mic off the stand and held up the USB. "I'm Sarah Walden," I said. "My father's daughter." The murmurs started instantly. I spotted Trent halfway down the aisle, Vivian beside him. She looked like she'd bitten into glass. "This tribute is a lie," I said, clear and even. "You're honoring a man who was silenced by the same system he gave his life to. You want to talk legacy? Let's do that." I plugged in the USB, clicked once. The screen flickered, then cut to black. Then Hale's voice filled the room. "Silence is cheaper than scandal. Remove him from the board. And if he pushes back, we'll take permanent measures." Then, "No one survives this fire." Gasps, whispers. People shifted in their chairs. Phones came out. I turned to face the crowd again. "That voice belongs to the man you're honoring next." I pointed straight at Hale, who was sitting front row, jaw tight, face pale. He didn't speak, didn't move. Then came the shuffle. 4 men in dark suits entered from the side door near the stage. Badges flashed. Quiet voices. Hale was tapped on the shoulder, asked to stand. He did. Slowly. He didn't argue, didn't protest. Just straightened his tie and walked out like he still had a choice. I watched him go. Trent's face was frozen. Vivian gripped her clutch like it might explode. Then I stepped forward again, mic still in hand. My father warned them. He documented everything. They ignored him. Then they buried him. I paused. But the truth wouldn't stay quiet. I dropped the mic back on the stand and walked straight down the center aisle. Nobody stopped me. Nobody said a word. It took less than 48 hours for everything to unravel. Hale was dishonorably removed from 3 boards, forced to resign from his university chair, and placed under federal review. They tried to spin it at first, out of context, doctored audio, the usual crap. But the voice match stuck, and nobody wanted to be the last fool defending a man caught ordering someone's silence. Meanwhile, the Walden Foundation triggered an emergency audit. The accounting firm dropped them. 2 major donors froze their funding. And Trent? He got dragged in front of the board and politely booted. They stripped his voting rights, cut his travel card, revoked his access to internal systems. Vivian tried to hold her ground, but without Trent holding the reins, she was just expensive jewelry with an outdated title. The cherry on top? Someone leaked a video of her in the parking lot of the foundation building, screaming at a board member. "She destroyed this family for ego. That ungrateful little bitch dug up trash just to play the hero." It hit 3 million views in a day. The IRS came knocking next. Then federal investigators. Subpoenas flew. The estate got frozen under investigation for misused nonprofit funds, undisclosed shell companies, and fraudulent environmental claims. I got a certified letter the following week. Legal envelope, thick and cold. Inside, confirmation of new trustee status. My name, my signature required. Legal control of the Walden estate had shifted. I didn't even cry. I just sat there for 10 minutes, holding the paper, feeling like I'd stepped into someone else's life. A week later, I drove to the cemetery with my mom. It was cold, the kind that crawled into your sleeves and sat on your bones. We stood at the gravesite. No flowers, no visitors. Just a flat gray headstone with my father's name etched in stone. She didn't speak for a while, just stared at it, arms folded. I never hated him, she finally said. I hated what he let happen. I nodded. I know. We didn't hug. We didn't cry. But she stood there beside me for 20 solid minutes. Not forgiveness, not even closure. Just space to breathe. That was enough. 2 days later, I got another envelope. This one from the university. It was short, direct. We invite you to speak at our upcoming seminar on truth in medical ethics. Given your unique position and experience, we believe your perspective is critical. Please advise if you'll attend. I folded it, slipped it into my back pocket, and grabbed my phone. Eli, I said when he picked up, I'm giving a speech. I stood behind the podium in the same auditorium where they'd shown my father's tribute video. Same stage, same banners. But this time, I wasn't crashing anything. My name was on the program. The seats were packed, students, faculty, board members, even a few reporters tucked into the corners pretending not to record. I spotted my mom near the front, jacket buttoned tight, hands folded in her lap. Eli stood in the back, leaning against the wall like he didn't want anyone to notice he gave a damn. I adjusted the mic, cleared my throat. My name is Sarah Walden, I said. I'm a veteran, a medic, and the daughter of a man who died trying to do the right thing. The room went still. When people talk about ethics, they usually think of rules, codes, checklists. But real ethics? That happens when no one's looking. When you hear something wrong and decide whether to shut your mouth or speak anyway, I paused. Let the silence stretch. My father didn't speak soon enough, but when he finally did, it cost him everything. A few people shifted, a couple scribbled notes. I looked down at the short speech I'd written, then folded the paper and set it aside. Screw the notes. I was told to stay quiet. I was told to walk away. I didn't, not because I was brave, because I was angry. And angry people dig, someone in the back chuckled, soft and nervous. But digging's not enough. You have to carry the truth with both hands, even when it burns. I looked toward the rows of students, eyes wide, phones down. Legacy isn't what we leave behind. It's what we protect while we're still here. And conscience. Conscience is what we choose to keep when power tells us to shut it off. I took one last breath. We don't inherit courage. We build it. No one clapped at first. They just stood, one row, then another, silent, respectful. Like they knew applause wasn't the point. I stepped down from the stage and started toward the exit, heart hammering. Near the door, a girl about 19 stepped into my path, short, nervous, holding out a small spiral notebook. "Excuse me," she said. "My sister wants to follow in your footsteps. She's applying to the med school here next fall." I looked at the notebook. The corner was dog-eared, the ink already smudged from her hand. I took it, signed my name. "Tell her not to wait for permission." Then I handed it back and stepped into the hallway, the lights behind me fading as the doors closed.